So hello everybody, my name is Michelle with 1L, and this is my talk, It Takes a Village to Make a Programmer. It's a talk in two parts. So the first part is my story, and the second part is a bunch of suggestions for you for how you can help in your own village. So to start, my story. I went to school for teaching, and I unfortunately graduated at the height of the recession in the United States, so I ended up not getting a teaching job. I was just substitute teaching, which I think is the most demoralizing job in the world. So I was really unhappy for a while. So I realized I would have to move to get a job, and I thought if I'm going to move away for a job, I'm going to move far, far away. So after 2 years of substitute teaching, I moved to Germany. When I got here, I got a random office job that wasn't going to really be something permanent, so I realized I had a big decision to make. There were lots of different directions my professional career could go. I had thrown around the idea of maybe becoming a UX designer. I could teach English as a foreign language. I could try to go back to teaching. I could keep this office job that I had if I really wanted to, or I could do something totally different. So one day at my office job, I was an office manager for a tour operator for people who went on cruises. We got a bill from our programmers, and the bill was really outrageous. It was for this really simple customer feedback form that we had asked them to create for us, and I remembered I had written back and forth to them about 10 times, just with all these little things that they could have done to make it better. And I was taking German courses at the time, and afterwards I had gone out with my classmates, and I was so angry and so upset about this. I was raving to them about how I could do it better, and you know what, I should be a programmer, I could do this, and I didn't really take myself very seriously. But one of my classmates did, and so she emailed me about a course that was going to be offered in Berlin called Front-End Web Development for beginners. And it was really expensive, so I sent an email to my brother saying, hey, there's this course, want to sponsor me, LOL? And I got the loving response from him of nothing. So I wrote to him a second time saying, okay, no, seriously, what do you think? Will you help me out? And he said yes, so I took the course, and about halfway through the course, one of the people working for General Assembly, the company where I took it, was also running a group here in Berlin called Berlin Geekettes, and I found out they were offering a hackathon. So after 6 weeks with just knowledge of HTML and CSS, I participated in my first hackathon. And this was where I had my holy shit moment. I was like, oh my God, the energy that you could feel in the room when everyone was just getting together and hashing out their ideas and forming teams and working together, the energy was electric. I looked around and I just saw amazing things happening. People were taking ideas that just existed inside of their own head and using nothing but their computer and their hands and people around them. They were taking this idea and making it into something that other people could do and use and interact with, and I thought that was amazing. And I thought, I want to do that, and I want to do that, and I want to do that, and I want to be able to do everything. So I ended up quitting my office job. I finally realized what I wanted to do, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. Berlin is the city where you can take some time off and afford it, so I decided to do this. So I had a lot of free time on my hands once I was unemployed, and I heard about a conference called Eurocamp. It's a Ruby conference that happens here in Berlin. And I'd never heard of anything like a tech conference before. It was never something really on my radar. And I just thought, hey, cool, it's like an event where everyone's interested in the same thing, and they go there and hang out. I want to go. A couple of people that I knew had gotten tickets through Rails Girls, and they had gotten them for free through a diversity outreach program, but there were no tickets left. So I couldn't afford to go myself, being unemployed. So they said, hey, why don't you follow the Twitter account? Maybe somebody will sell theirs for free, or get rid of it for a cheap price. So I started following the account, and I saw this guy, Bruno, and he tweeted, so I have my Eurocamp ticket, and unfortunately I can't go. Let's make it count. Give me a good reason, and it's free. Hashtag give something back. So I tweeted at him right away, and I wasn't sure if I would get the ticket. I didn't know what other kind of people I was competing with, what reasons they had, but I said, hey, I'm really passionate, please give me a chance. And I did get the ticket. And I got the ticket with several stipulations. He said, okay, you can have the ticket, but I have 3 rules. Number 1, you have to have fun, and you have to have a lot of fun. I said, okay, I can do that. He said, number 2, find my friend Justine, she's giving a talk, and give her a hug. I said, okay, I can do that too. And he said, number 3, I don't care what you do, what it is, but somehow you need to give back to the community. And I said, okay, I can do that. And so that's part of what I'm here doing today, hoping that I can inspire you to give back to your communities as well. So I went to the conference, and it was way more impactful on my life than I ever could have imagined. It was where I took my first Rails Girls workshop, and I decided I did not want to start programming by learning Rails. One of the girls that I attended with went on to become one of my best friends. I was exposed to the idea of lightning talks for the first time, and that was the first time I thought to myself, hey, maybe I could be a speaker too. 5 minutes, I can do that. And probably the most important thing was this talk that was given at the Rails Girls workshop by another woman who had changed careers 1 year after her first Rails Girls workshop. And I don't remember a single thing about her talk because I just sat there the whole time after she had been introduced thinking to myself, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it faster, and I'm going to do it better. And since then, she's actually seen me give this talk, and we've spoken about it, and she's cool with it because, you want your talk to impact people, and how effective is your talk if you don't even have to give it for it to have such a profound inspiration, right? So I attended this wonderful conference, and I was back to my unemployed life, and I had 5 really good days. 5 great days where I was working from the moment I woke up until a reasonable hour in the evening, keeping track of what I was doing, how much time I spent learning each thing, and it was a really productive first week. And after that, everything went downhill. Because I don't know how much you've tried to do completely on your own like this, but it's not easy. So after that, it became a big struggle. But luckily, at the same time, I met another guy named Franxx who also quit his job. And we had these really symbiotic interests where he was interested in learning more about teaching. I was interested in learning more about programming. And those were both our respective careers, so we teamed up. And he became a real huge mentor for me. He would hang out with me, pair program. He would whip up a gist and explain a concept if I was having trouble getting it, if we weren't together. He wrote homework assignments for me. He really pushed my learning forward and helped me to have somebody to rely on, somebody that I could trust and ask questions, and really helped me improve and expand my knowledge. Soon after this, because relying on Franxx wouldn't have been just enough, I found out about a program that was being piloted in Berlin called Hackership, and it's based on something called the Hacker School in New York, if you're familiar with that. And basically, it's a full-time learning program for programmers of all ranges of levels of experience. And basically, what you do is you come together, and full-time, you're just working on learning on whatever you're interested in. And not only do you have mentors provided for you, but you're working alongside other people. So it's kind of like a real academic setting, and it helps you have somewhere to go, and you get to put on workshops yourself. And one of the best parts about it was that at the end of every week, we had to give presentations to the whole group. And so I got to practice my public speaking, and I got to share what I was working on during these 6 weeks, which was a web application that I was building in Ruby without any frameworks or any libraries, except for the crypto stuff, which the thing I was most proud of was the user authentication system that I wrote. So that was really cool. So that was for 6 weeks, and that really pushed my learning forward. So just to recap on the timeline of this situation, I had January 22nd of 2013, last year. That was when I wrote my first Hello World at this front-end web development course. And January 21st of this year, 2014, I got not one, but 2 junior developer job offers once I finally got over the fear of looking for a job. Yeah. So some really exciting news. I work for Sociomantic, and the team that I started on was doing the CSS for ad banners. So I had been doing just CSS pretty much exclusively for the last 6 months, but I just found out this week I got accepted to a new team where I will be doing native JavaScript. So, woo, yeah. Yeah. So I got accepted, I got this job offer and I accepted it, but because of some legal issues, I had to wait about a month and a half before I could start working. So again, I had some more free time, so I decided to apply to speak at my first conferences. So I got accepted to speak at my first conference. It was another Ruby conference in Uruguay. And Uruguay is pretty far away from Berlin, and something happens when you're unemployed for 7 months. You run out of money. So I got accepted to speak at this conference. I was invited to go, but I had no way to get there. At the urging of the conference organizers, I set up an Indiegogo, and again, the community overwhelmed me with their support. I received donations. In 24 hours, I made all the money I needed to cover flight and somewhere to stay. And just out of the generosity of people's hearts, most people didn't even know me at all. They just read the little description I had of this talk. It's this talk that I'm giving right now. And I have to thank a couple of people as one of the rewards. So thank you to Bruno, Dennis, David, Seth, Sven, along with a dozen other people who helped me to get there. So, yeah. So thank you to them. So as I've said, the community has done so much for me and so much to help me get to where I am today, and that now I would like to give you some suggestions for how you can help in your own communities. So I'm going to go through a list of suggestions with some different resources based on what resources you have, and I hope that there's something for everybody here. So this is how to help in your own village. If you have a little bit of time, just a little bit of time, there's still things you can do. The first thing is you can give encouragement. It's such a simple thing, but it can have such a huge impact. I can't tell you how many days that I was learning programming and I would just get stuck on a concept. It just would not click in my head, and I'd think to myself, what are you doing? Are you crazy? You should just go back to doing something else because you're never going to figure this out. It's never going to work out, and blah. And then, inevitably, living in an international city like Berlin, I would meet somebody and they'd say, hey, what are you doing in Berlin? And I'd be like, oh, well, I'm changing careers. I'm learning how to program. And they'd be like, no way, that's so awesome. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, it kind of is awesome. I'm following my dreams. And they're like, yeah. And then it would just kind of jolt me back into this, oh, yeah, I have a real reason that I'm doing this, and I do belong programming. So something as simple as just a little, hey, that's really cool, can really make somebody's day. Something else you can do with just a little bit of time is expose your passions. I want you to take to Twitter, take to a blog, a meetup, start speaking about whatever you're interested in. Everybody in this room has something that they're interested in that is unique from many other people. But you don't know who else shares this unique interest of yours if you don't talk about it and you don't share it. And especially consider ways that you can be inviting to talk to people who might not have as much knowledge about this as you do, and think of ways that you can get other people involved. If you have a little bit of time or a lot of time, there are some options for you. So quality beginner-friendly resources. There are two parts to this. So the first is just sharing them. If you only have a little bit of time, you can find quality resources and share them by tweeting them or just telling people about them. Or if you have even more time, maybe you can write some yourself. Because as you know, there's such a wealth of resources out there, and they are not all created equal. You can Google how to do something and find 25 different blog articles, and you know that some of these are crap and some of these are going to be good, but you won't know if you're inexperienced. So if you have any sort of motivation to write some of these things, please do it. Okay, maybe you don't have time, but you have money. You can be a sponsor. It is so easy to have so many excuses why you don't want to try something new or get into a new field or get started. You can really talk people out of a lot of excuses, but you can't talk someone out of not having enough money. So you could sponsor someone for a course or a workshop like my brother did for me, or some other creative way to use the resource that you have. You can also send somebody to a conference. As we said before, a conference is so much more than just talks and just professional development. There's networking, you meet friends, there can be workshops. You just get so much more from a conference than you can really imagine. It can be a really great place, but as you know, they can be really expensive. So if you have some way to get an extra ticket, or if you're an organizer, JSConf did a really great job with these diversity tickets where you could buy one and send someone else with it. Something like that is really awesome. And if you have a lot of time, you should become a mentor. This is the single most important thing that you can do for anyone who's starting out or changing careers. It is just the biggest thing that you can do to help someone. If you have somebody to trust and somebody you can ask these questions to and you can share your experiences with. And there's also so many different ways that you can do this. It doesn't have to mean just one thing. So you could meet for lunch as often as monthly or weekly, whatever you can commit to. You could pair program with people. You could simply offer advice by email. In the last year or so, I found out about this program called mentoring.is, and it's a distributed mentoring movement. And basically what it is you add /mentoring to your personal website, and they give you a text and everything that you can use to just say to people, hey, I'm open to being a mentor. This is how to get in touch with me. And it's a really great way if you don't know how to get started or how to get involved in your community. You can simply add this and start sharing it. And if you have space and time, there's more options. We need you to create safe spaces. What do I mean by that? Safe spaces can be anything like a hackathon, a workshop, a study group. It could mean a women-only group or some sort of minority-only group. And I want to make a point about this. There seems to be some controversy where people think that these whatever-only spaces are exclusive, but they're not. They're actually inclusive. What they do is they include people who otherwise would have been excluded, whether they would have felt uncomfortable or unsafe or just couldn't get in due to overcrowding. Whatever reason it is, it includes more people who otherwise wouldn't have been included. And why are safe spaces important? They're really important because this is where you challenge yourself and take risks and stretch your limits. You can't find out what new things you can do if you don't feel comfortable enough to try new things. So that's why safe spaces are so important for us to have these community spaces. And finally, if you have courage, I urge you to tell your story, especially if you have a story that doesn't fit the mold of the stereotypical kid who started programming when he could write and has been doing it his entire life. I have a quote for you from a documentary called Misrepresentation. It says, "You cannot be what you cannot see." So of course there are exceptions, but if you can be a role model or a hero for somebody where they can identify with something with you, and if you're a little bit different than other people, that can be a really amazing, amazing way to help out by just becoming a figure for people. So what now? I'd like to take one moment to give a shout out to hard work and to acknowledge the hard work that I did put in and that other people like me have put in, because even with all the help in the world, it wouldn't have been possible. And I just think it's important to acknowledge. And I also have one more quote for you. It's by Tal Ben-Shahar, who's a positive psychologist from Harvard. And he says, "There's so much benefit to the person who contributes to others that I often think there is no more selfish act than a generous act." So that means that anything you do for other people, you're really doing for yourself. And any of these ways that you can help out, you will feel a reward, and it will feel good. And I can promise you that. So now I would like you to please return to your villages and make some programmers. Thank you. Thank you. I have some resources for you. I will tweet it out later. It's just got some different things like what I use to learn some programming, the mentoring link, different diversity groups if you're interested in learning more about how to diversify in your own company, and some different coding group for kids. And so again, I would like to say thank you to everybody who's helped me. Thank you for listening, and thank you from the future for all of the people that you will help. Thank you for the people you've been helping, and thank you for everyone you've helped already. Thanks.